property still presents favorably from a tax perspective. A lot of people also like to invest in property because it is a tangible asset, which you can enjoy, different from owning stocks and bonds, and a great diversification of your investment portfolio. After all, you do work very hard for your money, and it's definitely rewarding when you can visit and stay in the UK sometimes to enjoy the sightseeing and the 4 seasons the country offers. Last but not least, there is also the desire to own a property in the UK. With UK having branded themselves so successfully in many areas, such as the English Premier League, the Land Rover, the Rolls-Royce, and of course, the royal family, where you even have betting on the gender of the baby, on the names of the babies, which I don't think any royal family in the world received the same kind of attention. Now that I've got you intrigued, let me now share with you on how to get into the UK property market. First off, you need to understand the concept and idea of a UK property investment. What does it mean in terms of the kind of taxes that you will be subjected to? What is the buying procedure? What is your legal rights? The differences in lease tenure, and also other relevant rules and regulations. We will cover more on some of these in various parts of the webinar. Next, you need to understand your investment objectives and develop your strategy. I've helped many Malaysian buyers through this process via a private consultation where they can share their goals with me and I can guide them to understand their risk appetite and goals. Will the purchase only be for the duration of the children's education? Will the purchase be to build up a portfolio of properties in the UK? Or will it be to leave a legacy for your grandchildren? So say you are interested. You need to set aside a comfortable investment budget and understand the financing options available. I have had clients in the past who come to me with unrealistic budgets to buy in prime areas in London, refusing to consider secondary location, which led to them feeling frustrated and missing out in the growth sitting on the fence for too long. A lot of property experts always talk about timing your investment, which to me is debatable. I go by, you invest when you feel ready to, financially. We have received a similar question in the Q&A on the timing of when you should buy as well. And I think you may feel that other people may have bought their properties at a cheaper price and you have missed the boat. But if you were not ready then the timing is just not right for you. So I highly recommend that you don't beat yourself up. As long as you're ready to start, you start. For example, if your budget does not permit you to invest in prime central London right now, how about looking outside? Looking outside could mean Greater London. It could also mean outside of London in other key cities such as Cambridge, Oxford, and work yourself over time into London if that is your goal. Selecting the right property. This is, of course, the most important part of the process. We will help you in identifying the hotspot areas and finding the best value proposition with good exit strategies amongst these areas. Finally, another important part of the investment journey is to have your property support group. What do you do post-completion? Who do you go to when you have problems? Who is going to lease and manage your property professionally so you can get on with your life in Malaysia and sleep well at night? I always tell clients that when you want to buy a property, you got to make sure that you can sleep well at night. Don't do it if you cannot sleep well. Don't do it if you have anxiety, okay? Do it when you feel comfortable and when you feel ready. So if you have the right property support group, you know you can turn to them whenever issues come up and you are needing someone to discuss the property with. And a lot of times we have also experienced many of clients' friends who have some idea, who have lived and studied in the UK before, they give advice, but it doesn't really make them property experts unless they are really property professionals themselves. So we've heard of many stories where they actually give poor advice or wrong advice, resulting in clients missing out and not being able to optimize the returns of their property. Now, next, here comes the part which many of you may be waiting for. What are the tips to buy well? Preparation matters. The most common theme amongst most investors is the importance of research. Regardless of the asset type, taking the time out to plan your next 5, 10, or even 20 years is the difference between a good investment and a great one. You will want to consider each aspect of the investment and research them individually. For example, in property investment, you will need to research location, tenant demand. What contributes to tenant demand? We're talking about transport links, schools, universities, employment potential of the area. You also want to look at any redevelopments of facilities that will entice residents. You also want to look at past performances of nearby developments and even the history of your developer or agent. I know that this sounds like an overwhelming amount of homework, and we have found that a lot of clients, while doing this extensive research, can also end up confusing themselves too. My advice is, first have a private consultation with us, have an idea of where you stand, what's possible, then be presented with a couple of options and you start your research from there. We will guide you through this process and help you in understanding what matters most from an investor point of view. Strategy matters. Of course, this comes under your research stage. Your strategy matters is no less important. Devising and sticking to a solid strategy that covers both the long term and the short term will help you make more informed decisions and prevent you from straying from your main goals. Many investors will use the stages of life as a guideline. Investors of different ages will have different end goals. So we have experienced lots of different clients who some wants to build a passive income for themselves, some who eventually wants to have a holiday home when they retire, some who are investing for their children's future, which as you can imagine, is a common goal for many, many Asians. I am one of those parents. I did not have much to begin with. I started off with a £200,000 property in a secondary location in London many years ago. It was one of the regeneration project by Barclays, and it was really not a great area in those days, okay? But eventually I did well. And every time I was able to save or make another deposit, I wrote into another property, which over the years, I traded them. I consolidated my portfolio to give me a comfortable passive income and capital growth over the years. And one day, if my children need to go and study or work in the UK, I feel that, you know, I've done my job. I've made enough to at least cover their tuition fee. I don't have to sweat about it and help them maybe even to start off in life. Next. Now, mentality matters. A lot of Malaysian investors tend to apply the Malaysian investment mentality when they're buying overseas properties or be overly emotional about their investment property, which I totally understand. That's normal. I'll pass it over to Shelvin, who is going to run a little fun quiz with all of you. Shelvin?
Hello, I'm Shelvin. There will be 4 questions in this quick quiz, and I will really encourage you to participate together with us as well. You can type your answer in the chat section. More than happy, but otherwise, if any one of you is too shy to answer, we will review the answer ourselves. But generally, these are the common feedback I've got from my customer, from my client, throughout the year of experience when I work in this industry, especially if the clients are first time buyers to UK market. Not because they don't know, but I think it's the not being familiar is the factor. So I'm gonna put in some samples, and from there when you understand why Malaysian mentality has become, for me, is an obstacle for us to understand the market. So number 1, British people do not like balconies and terraces. Is that true or false? I'm going to open this question to the floor. Anyone? In 5, 4, 3, 2, and let me see, check. Oh, false. Some say true, some say don't know. Let me review the questions. Okay, I'll review the answer. False. The Brits love balconies and terraces. Yes, I kid you not. Especially in today's market, which is a post-pandemic lockdown market, when working from home has become a hybrid lifestyle. So outdoor space or balconies and terraces it had become more in demand as British people would take those as their personal space or escape space for them to achieve work-life balance. And let's be honest, we don't like staying in four walls all the time. And even the simple activities like a 5 minutes um, 5 minutes meditation break or 30 minutes yoga or wine over the balcony can significantly improve their mental well-being, which will then be also be reflected on their work productivity. And in fact, there was a huge surge of tenants who move into bigger apartments and homes with bigger balconies and terraces. And even if this means living further away from the city or their workplace, let me see who is getting a free gift for answering correctly. Okay, I'll call you later. Okay, I'll call you later. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, I love the interaction from the floor. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Leasehold properties are less enticing than freehold properties in the UK. True or false? Drum rolls. 10 seconds time for you to answer. Sorry about, I wish we have a lucky draw, but don't have a prize, but we'll give you our free consultation. So I got some answer here. False, 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 and false. Ooh. Well done, guys. Let me reveal the question. Is a yes or no? Is debatable. Okay, in Malaysian context, we have both types of lands, freehold and leasehold. But when it comes to leasehold properties, they are mostly the land which are state-owned, meaning upon expiry of the lease, you need to give back the land to the government. Okay, and we being Asian, typical Asian, we like ownership. Hence, leasehold has become a little bit less enticing to us. However, in the UK, it's a good mix of leasehold and freehold properties in the country itself. So even when it comes to any property that is sold on the basis of remaining lease 99 years or remaining lease 250 years, it is no difference from any property that's got 999 years remaining. And to be honest, even for all the new builds that we have been launching for the past 10 years, most of the buildings or the developments have the renew lease of 999 years leasehold, which is virtually freehold. So in the nutshell, freehold and leasehold are pretty common. There's no difference and no discrimination in the UK. Let's move on to the third one. Bedrooms shouldn't be carpeted. True or false? Anyone? False. False from Mr. Vincent. True from D. False from Senki. True, Gary Ung. Anyone else? I get two, and I need two more answers from the floor. F. Yes, false. Yes. Okay. Now, I'll reveal the question. I'll reveal the answer. The answer is false. It should be carpeted because it is a standard inclusion in the UK. So best thing to wake up in the morning to is the warmth and the comfort on your feet rather than a stone cold towels, because UK is a 4-season country. It is literally 9 months cold in a year. And because of weather and climate, carpeting as the flooring is the norm. Okay, great job, guys. I got one more, last one. 1 kilometer walk to the station, the train station, is acceptable in the UK. True or false? May has answered true. True from Mr. Vincent. Fahil, true. Mr. Wong, true. Gary, true. Wow, come on, it's getting busier. Come on. True from Joey. True from Kenny. Well done, guys. Well done. All right. Without further ado, I'll reveal the answer. True, it's perfectly acceptable. Again, it's weather and climate related. It is not quite acceptable or conducive to walk under the sun in Malaysia because it's humid here and easily you will sweat buckets, right? However, it is an absolute British lifestyle for them to walk and commute. That's it. You live there, Joey. Nice one. Good one. So you can relate. So I'm going to pass back the floor to Jazmine now.
Okay, thanks Shelvin for the little fun quiz. So in summary, when you want to buy in a UK property, you have to think like a local and probably switch your mindset a little bit, not to be too Malaysian about it. All right, next slide. Okay, postcode matters, as we all know. The location of a development can make or break the entire investment, often being the vital difference between success or failure. Having a good location that fits your strategy can mitigate void periods, enjoy positive rental yields, and also help capital growth over time, all major aspects of any property investment. So when you are choosing locations, you can look at up and coming markets that will offer the balance between an affordable initial investment and a positive growth going forward. For investors, common signposts will be redevelopment or regeneration schemes that are creating new places to live, work, and play that potential tenants will be looking for. Before you invest, you can ask yourself if the new property is going to perform in 10 years' time and work from there. For example, if you prefer to invest in prime central London, you know you have more or less an insulated property bubble, okay? As supply is always going to be limited and demand will always outstrip supply due to the scarcity of land, due to the lengthy planning process in London to approve new developments. And if you choose to start your investment in a zone 3 or zone 4 location in London, it may be better for you to look for big regeneration projects which you can participate earlier on in the day so your investment can benefit the most from the upcoming transformation in the years to come. It is important to remember that location matters. Buying the right property is key, and time makes money for you in real estate. Properties will never run out of fashion in the world, even in the world of Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies. Money matters. Of course, money matters. Property investment is a big and important decision. How much money do you need in order to start your first investment? How do you roll over to the next property to create a portfolio? The answer here is leveraging. Leveraging is a term used to group lending options, mortgages, or a line of credit that can be borrowed to increase your returns. Having leveraging can make everything easier, allowing you to purchase more easily. By utilizing other people's money to make money is a great position to start investing for your future. Of course, there will always be clients who do not wish to go through the hassle of submitting paperwork to banks and prefers the traditional way of buying with what they have. Nothing wrong too, but it does put a cap to how much you can grow your investment portfolio. We will quickly show you two scenarios where with and without leveraging so you can see for yourself the difference. Now, let's look at, say, a 2-bedroom in zone 2 of price £500,000. The first scenario is a full capital outlay from your pocket, and assuming that the property is sold at a gain of, say, 750,000 in 5 years' time, the cash-on-cash return is 50%. In the second scenario, where the client assumingly takes 70% mortgage, which is very possible, he only needs to fork out £150,000. That means that the remaining £350,000, he can actually utilize it for other investment or even for his own business. And assuming that the same sales price of $750 is also being achieved 5 years later, on the cash-on-cash basis, he actually makes 250% instead. So that in summary means that the use of leveraging can make your money work harder and smarter. We will cover the financing option as well in the Q&A session later on in the webinar. Next up, we have property advisors, which matters a lot as well. Having a professional property expert to hold your hand throughout your investment journey, especially if this is your first time investing in overseas properties, will ensure that the right decisions are being arrived at with proper advice and enhance a positive property experience. I think for all of us as investors, we do not want to deal with issues arising from buying a property and then finding out that the property advisors has abandoned us or doesn't have the right advice or the connection to help us. So your property advisors also form part of your property support group, which I mentioned before. Someone you can always pick up the phone and discuss your property with. And now I will turn you over to Shelvin to share with us on what sets us apart from the rest. Shelvin?
Thank you, Jazmine. So what sets RBC apart? And in case you don't know what RBC is Red Bean Consultancy. That's our baby. First, we are experienced. We are experienced with over 34 years of combined experience in the local and also international property market. Next up, we pioneer the UK property marketing in Malaysia and have since sold more properties than any other UK properties agent in Malaysia. And just to give you a very basic idea in terms of number, we have sold more than 2,000 units in the past. We have the knowledge to properly guide you through the entire investment journey. It's like when you buy the right property, and that's equal to you marrying a good man or wife, and that's half of the battle won. We have the right connection. Through our line of work and years of experience, we have worked with several solicitors, developers, property agents, or property managers, and also not forgetting furnishing companies or interior designers or even locksmith. All these connection matters when it comes to contributing the success factor of your property investment. So there are actually many agents out there who are not equipped with the right connection. Therefore, the clients would end up being lost, especially after the post-completion stage. We care. We will continue to pick up your calls after sales and answer all your concerns as best as we can. We are reliable, we are honest, we are sincere, and we will always want to be there for you. And because of all this, we have built out a strong client referral network with many of our clients repeating purchases in different international cities. That includes Singapore, Australia, even Germany and Japan. And they're also willing to refer their friends and family. And I do have a very good example to share. I have this client who is apparently the elder sister in the family. She came through our exhibition door and picked the unit. And because she liked the way myself and my team presenting the development, and I also sat in for the legal meeting with her alongside with UK solicitor, she felt that she was well taken care of, and she's properly guided. She felt really at ease, and most importantly, we cover all the do's and don'ts. Therefore, the next day, literally the next day, she brought two brothers along, and one of each bought one unit. So, of course, the commission part is really great, but I think the biggest blessing of all is the trust and the friendship that I received from the client. Until now, we still speak on the phone on a regular basis. All right, ladies and gents, this is the exciting part. For this webinar, we are pleased and excited to give you a sneak peek of our latest regeneration project in London. And as Jazmine mentioned before, regeneration project, especially by a reputable developer who is pioneer and expert in regen, is a great way for you to start your UK property investment journey. Regeneration projects are usually more affordable, and the payment schemes are easier, as project usually has 2 to 3 years build time. and you are able to buy time to pay the deposit until the completion. And not only that, you can also have time to make your capital gains as the site progresses to be more established and matured over time. That will help to set up your medium and long-term goal and a strategy that will sit well for your wealth planning. And that's exactly the part that Jazmine was covering earlier on. In summary, Keybrook Village is located in Zone 3 of London, meaning you can travel back to all the major central London landmarks under 30 minutes, under half an hour. In total, the land size is 270 acres, but out of which there are 86 acres of open space, meaning there will be a parkland, wetland, and also waterways. Currently, there is a brand new Keybrook station. Just to give you a bit of background, there was an existing Keybrook station which was very old and has got no roof. But Barclay, they got in, they funded and gave the old train station a major facelift, which is now already completed and in operation since April this year. Well, in total, there will be close to 5,000 new homes by the end of 2030, but out of which close to half have been already delivered. This will give you a great snapshot of how connected it is when it comes to travel and comes to commute. As you can see, these London Bridge, Cannon Street, Bank, Charing Cross are the main line station in central London, and all you can travel and reach within half an hour from Keybrook Station. Apart from that, you can also travel to Lewisham, and from Lewisham you can change to DRR, which is the Dockland Light Rail, that will bring you to Canary Wharf. Yep, Canary Wharf in 20 minutes in total, door to door. And this is the top selling Barclay scheme in London post-pandemic because of the open space, because of community lifestyle and connectivity to central London. Popular demand among young local British families and also working professionals, especially when currently we are all stuck with working from home lifestyle. They will need open space, bigger balconies, community lifestyle to support. I'm going to play a video. This is a drone video which will show you the current progress in the landscape in Keybrook Village. Wow, this video gave me goosebumps. I hope I got you intrigued as well. Okay, so this is a great hero shot of Kirbrook Village, and this is where the train station is located. We are close to Blackheath, and in case you don't know what Blackheath is, they are one of the top trendy suburbs in London itself. And we are really close to O2 Stadium and Canary Wharf. As you can see, there's so much of open space surrounding the site. So this is the key selling point of Keybrook Village. Apart from having home sweet home, you can have a quick, instant access to open parkland. This will show you the generosity from Barclay Group of providing with open space. So not only they are providing a playground, they are also providing a park where you have a running track to run with, and you got 3 tennis court and some sports avenue as well. Commercial facilities. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to stress that these are not normal commercial facilities. They are not normal kedai that we see in Malaysia. This is one thing that I really appreciate from Barclay Group. For each of the regen scheme they have done, they will put extra effort and go the extra miles to put in retail and commercial element. And those element is not just for the public. It also fits really well for the residents' need. Like say, for example, in this case, in Keybrook case, they have this retail and social hub called the Village Center, where you can access to gym, to depot, which is a really nice restaurant and pub. You can do your grocery shopping and Sainsbury. You can look for your dental care in the dentist area. You also have hairdresser salon. There's another nursery coming to open soon. So basically, these are the place that you can go to settle your daily errands, on a day-to-day basis. Everything is under one roof. These are all the value-added features that you can enjoy if you are an investor in Keybrook Village. And I can also fare this to our Desa Park City. If you are familiar, there is a waterfront city. I can fare this to that. It's pretty similar. And apart from commercial facilities for the residents, they have their own residence gym. They have 24 hours concierge, car club, cycle paths. Let me just stress that Barclay, they put so much attention to details to deliver full-fledged facilities to their residents, to instill that home sweet home lifestyle, and therefore the property they are living in is not just a shelter, is more like a self-sufficient neighborhood. And that's exactly how Barclay progressed to increase the attractiveness of their development. So when Barclay launched the next phase or other phases, the prices of the unit will also increase because of the increased demand. And that connect us to the Barclay effect and also regeneration effect, which is on the next slide. So this would show how regen and Barclay contribute to your capital appreciation. So first thing first, you need to understand the concept of regeneration. So what is regeneration? Regeneration means bring about changes and transforming old areas. If you look back to the chart here, in 2010 is when they submit planning permission. And in 2011 is the time when they officially launched the property. And I was on board. I was the Asian team who get to sell the property. Back then, it was sold at 400 pounds per square feet. And over time, it just increased. And this is when all the new infrastructures and facilities, new population, new life start coming in. And that adds value to the property. And I'm going to show you a really good example of regen success story. This comes from a real life story. It's my own client. He invested a 2-bedroom in one of the Barclays regen scheme, but not in Keybrook, but something very similar. It's called the Woodbury Down. 2-bedroom he bought at 306,000 pounds. Purchase date was 2011 and the property completed in 2012. So it took about 1.5 years enjoying life, and it got completed, it paid off, and then start renting out. So it was rented out at 1,004 per month. And as they progress, as the site progress, this is when Barclay came in. Okay, this is when they put in a new shop, a new Sainsbury, and then they put a new school, and they complete another block next door. So all the new life and new elements keep coming in. Eventually, he can actually command 1,750 rental as the money rental in 2015 January. And on paper is 25% growth. And throughout the tenancy, he has not got any vacancy issues. It has no vacancy factor. Then there comes the best part. He sold it. He sold in September 2015. And guess what? Guess what was the price? £515,000, ladies and gents. Real life example. I was a sole agent. I was a selling agent for him as well. Um, on a cost basis, he made 68% growth, and that equates to £210,000. So, what is the secret recipe behind this? He really took his time to wait for the place to progress, to be occupied by new residents, new businesses, and he also witnessed how Barclay transformed the landscape of the site. And from a social aspect, such as demographic change, because it used to be a very old council flat area. So when I say demographic change, is when you see the changes in terms of the age group and the job, the occupation of the tenants, and even on from the aesthetic aspect in terms of surrounding areas, uh, from a council flat estate to a desirable residential landmark. It's really something, guys. So Barclay really go the extra miles to make sure all the residents can access to all the top end facilities, and to also, increase the quality of life that will provide sustainability to both human well-being and also external environment. And that is the secret recipe behind investing regeneration scheme. Plus, Barclay effect. Barclay is the pioneer. They are the master of master plan development and also regen. They have a long-standing and strong following from both local and international markets. So I would say the gains is twofold. Not only that, because the client decided to bring the money back from UK, so he made a currency gain as well. That equates to 25% gain. Okay, so this is the current phase where we are going to launch in Malaysia. It's called Water Lily Court. As you can see from the slide, the starting price for one bedder will be from £377,000, and for the two beds will be from £525,000. Three bed 630, and on an average basis, you'll be getting close to 4.2% yield, and which is definitely better than our FD rate in Malaysia. We also have townhouse available that is called the Urban House. They are freehold. It's 3+1 bed freehold townhouses and competitively priced below £1 million. So if you wish to find out more, please DM us. It's a rare commodity when the land is scarce in London. This is a quick cash flow analysis. We pick one unit, which is the one bedder, as our case study. As you can see, this is the asking price that's before discount. Then in summary, you'll be paying 25% down payment. Then on completion, which is in 2024, that is when you settle the balance of the property price. And this gives you a really good understanding of the one-time acquisition cost that includes the legal fees and stamp duty. As for annual expenses, is the fee and the charges that you pay when you hold the property. First thing first is service charge, which is equivalent to our maintenance or management fee in Malaysia. And plus ground rent, because it's a leasehold property for 999 years. Letting fee is the agent's fee. Council tax, don't worry, it's paid by tenant. So all in is about 4,000 per annum. And the great news is you can get financing from Maybank London. On a P plus I basis, principal plus interest loan, you will be enjoying 3.2% interest rate. And assuming you are on a 30 years tenure, loan tenure, monthly installment is 1,001. Okay. And on the rental, this is 1,450 per month. And I would like to stress that this is not an estimation, it's not a projected rental. It is actually an achieved rental rate in the area itself. So these are all realistic calculation. And to be honest, in the summary, 4.5 is really good in London market itself. And if you go by the expenses basis by percentage, is roughly about 1% cost. So you minus off that, the net yield will be achieving will be close to 3.5%. And we haven't accounted the capital growth as the site progresses. All right, so we are actually doing a virtual exhibition for this site that will be on the 17th and 18th July. Yes, it's virtual. We can't do it in the hotel. So sorry because of the lockdown. But yes, we are going to host a webinar at 2 p.m. on both days. So if you wish to register with us, you can probably put in your request in the chat session. We will get back to you. Otherwise, I would strongly suggest you to look at this property before the virtual exhibition to choose your unit. And you stand a chance to win 2 returns flight ticket to London when the international border is open. Okay? I'm gonna take this, let Nazim to take over from here.
Okay, thank you very much for that interesting talk. Hopefully those of you who are still new or on the fence are excited about the thought of investing in UK property residential now. Even though some from the quiz answers, I can see a lot of people are actually very seasoned investors. So thank you very much for joining our talk. Okay, so we have actually received a lot of various topics from the registrants on market updates about people wanting to know the future outlooks, financing, taxes, and what kind of services do we offer. So firstly, with regards to the market update, I can also see somebody already asking, property price in London is still on the rise despite the pandemic. Do you expect it to come down anytime soon? Okay, so to answer these questions, we realize a lot of people are worried about the ongoing global pandemic that is yet to be over. And here are some snippets from the latest UK property news that have come out recently in the media. As you can see, there has been a rise in the number of overseas buyers into the UK market. And this is partly because when market is slowly starting to open, a lot of people are actually flocking into safe investment options. And as our speakers have thoroughly explained, UK residential has historically been a safe hedge against any shock in the economic downturn. And people are also looking to get bigger spaces from the property that they're staying in. And next, from the UK market activity, we are looking at a trend that is record-breaking levels. And if it's going on the trend that it goes now, we are looking to achieve £100 billion worth of property transaction over the summer. Okay, and apart from the news snippets, actually all the data and statistics have shown that a different story in the overall economy. You might have heard of the term post-pandemic boom, and the UK property market has actually been one of the beneficiaries as we're moving towards normalcy. Research have actually suggests that we have an unexpectedly strong market in 2020, which saw prices rise at about 7.3%. And all things considered, with the economy being in a recession, it shows that the fundamentals of supply and demand for the residential property market is very strong as people desires to move actually outweighs the uncertainty in the economy. And in addition, the outlook have improved since the beginning of the year, given the speed of the vaccination program. And the government have also relaxed their lockdown measures, plus the initiative taken by the government, such as introducing stamp holidays, furlough schemes, and super low interest rates. So this has propped up the London residential property market. And to talk about the forecast, to answer the question, Actually, if you're looking at the 2021 to 2022, you can see there's a little spike. And this is partly driven by people doing renovation works and people motivated to upgrade their homes into bigger spaces because many companies are allowing work from home. And even some companies are probably going to be indefinitely until further notice for working from home. And people just wanting more outdoor space and to have such as balcony and terraces. As you can see, the property that we actually shown have all this balcony and free spaces. And we also have received a question coming from the registrant that which are the hotspot for buyers can seriously consider in the market right now. And I think Jazmine, being the one with the most experience, can probably share with us a bit on this question.
Oh dear, you're saying that I'm old, is it?
No, experience. There's a difference.
Okay, I'm going to try and answer this question. I mean, there are a lot of hotspots throughout UK. You got to first and foremost identify what are your investment goals, what's your budget, and what you are comfortable with. So if you are, if you're trying to invest in UK and in London, for example, I would recommend that you look into large master plan regeneration projects in close proximity to public transportation, has a lot of open spaces, which in today's context is really highly valued, and obviously be accessible to amenities. The commute, ideally, okay, is within 30 minutes from London itself. So that makes it very viable for a lot of residents, even from a tenant point of view, or next time if you want to resell it. You also want to try and invest in the earlier stages of the project to maximize the capital growth. So for example, the project that Shelvin shared, which is Kidbrook Village, about 50% of the entire scheme has already been delivered. So that's about 2,500 units has been sold, completed, and lived in. Okay, you got a balance of another 10 more years to go. So that's a good start because it's still affordable. It's still very close to London. Okay, and you can still see that you can still have the effect of capital growth. You will have the rental there because the community is already very vibrant over there. And then if you're thinking of investing in locations in other parts of the UK, I think you can consider university cities such as Cambridge, Oxford, Birmingham, or even Norwich, where there are actually strong motivational factors driving continued price growth and has shown very good tenant demand. Like Cambridge is like a research town, especially with all the pandemic, the research pharmacies and all that is based there. So it has its own driving factors as well. And when you are investing outside of London, it can also mean that your dollar can be stretched. So in London, maybe what you have, you can only, budget-wise, you can probably only buy one small bedroom in central London. But if you have no problem in investing overseas or in other parts of UK, right? You probably end up buying a house in Cambridge. So you stretch your dollar. So it all depends on what you are comfortable with as well. So we can go through them with you once we have identified your goals. So each city, each town will have its own hotspot area.
And we
Back
do
to you.
A new questions from the floor. What would be the type of renters for Kidbrook? I can answer that. I went to the site 3 times. The type of tenants I saw and met and even spoke to a few of them, they are typically young families. Young families, probably with a small kid, 2-3-year-old, a baby. And there are also empty nesters, baby boomers, but because the kids are all grown out, so they want to downsize. Then hence they choose Kidbrook because it's still really convenient to travel back to central London, and they love green space. So apart from young families, empty nester, I also met quite a couple of working professionals who work in Canary Wharf and also Bank area. So these are the general demographic of the type of tenants you'll be getting from Kidbrook Village. I hope I answered your questions.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
The playground in Kidbrook Village is amazing. It's like architecturally designed. I don't know whether you guys know that, but it's actually won an award just on the playground.
Oh yeah, they won 2 awards actually. 2 awards. Okay, financing. One of the most popular questions we got from the Q&A. Yes, you can get financing from both UK banks and also Malaysian banks for property in UK. The major features between both banks are not a lot of differences, to be honest. They share quite a few things in common, but I will go through some differences later on. First thing is the loan margin, okay, loan to value. In summary, for UK banks, they will consider 75% of the purchase price or the valuation price, whichever is lower. But as for Malaysian bank, they are able to stretch to 80%. As for the type of property, UK banks will consider completed or near completion property. By saying near completion, they will not consider any property that has got 12 months away from the completion date. They will only consider property that is at least 6 months. It has to be 6 months away from the completion. Therefore, they are able to conduct a valuation. Now, for Malaysian banks, they can consider completed and also off-plan properties, which is pretty popular and common for Asian buyers like us. As for interest rate, UK bank, the rates for UK banks are quite dynamic, depending on the criteria and the loan condition. But in summary, it's between 2 to 5%. As for Malaysian bank, they are offering 2 currency for you to consider. You can go with Malaysian ringgit loan, and the effective rate is 3.9, thanks to our base lending rate, very low now, and sterling pound loan at 5.05. Loan tenure, both banks have the same requirement, is either maximum 30 years or 75 years old, whichever comes first. Many banks can stretch to 75. It's true, depending on the condition of the application. Purpose of investment, here comes the difference part. UK bank can consider buy to live and buy to let. Buy to live is where you take the unit as your own use. Buy to let is you as an investor, you just want to rent it out to the local. Hence, it's investment rental of income. As for Malaysian bank, they will only consider investment purpose, which is buy to let. The areas within financing criteria, UK banks will consider properties, residential properties across UK. As for Malaysian banks, they're quite London-centric. Hence, they will consider residential properties from Zone 1 to 3 and selected areas in Zone 4 in London. UK banks can offer interest-only loan. Malaysian bank cannot. But UK bank can accept corporation applicants, meaning company purchaser. However, Malaysian banks do not consider for the time being. I hope I have given a good understanding on the financing. Now we're going to move on to the next slide, is the taxes. Nazim.
Okay, thank you very much, Shelvin. And regarding taxes, this is one of the popular questions that we have also, to give you an overview of what kind of taxes you'll be paying when you buy a residential UK property. So first, it's the stamp duty land tax. So this is charged on a tier level basis, anything from 3% to 15%. And for foreigner, there's also a surcharge of 2% if you're not a resident of the United Kingdom. Although it is payable upon completion of the property. So for example, Kidbrook Village completion on 2024, that's the time that you will be paying your stamp duty land tax. So you have time to plan out your cash flow. Even so, this is actually, even with a foreigner stamp duty surcharge, this is actually still very competitive for investors who are looking at various other locations. As for the income tax, anything that you make below 37,500, you'll be taxed at 20%, and over that will be 40%. And for Malaysians, we can actually enjoy a personal allowance of 12,500 pounds per tax file per year. So that's one of the specialties that we get by being a Malaysian. Okay. And for capital gains tax, at a lower rate, before you reach a certain threshold, you'll be taxed at 18%, and after that, 28% for individuals. And for corporation, it'll be 10% and 20% once you reach that threshold. And for inheritance tax, so I understand that a lot of people actually have concerns on this inheritance tax. If you own a property, you will be subjected to inheritance tax. As the saying goes, the only thing certain in life is death and taxes. But there are ways to circumvent this. So for example, like if you pass it on to a spouse, it's not subjected to any taxes. If you transfer it in a will and you live on for 7 years, your tax rate will be at 0%. And on top of that, even if you do get taxed, so you have a tax-free threshold of 325,000 pounds. And this has to be free of encumbrances. For example, if you have a mortgage, so you minus off the mortgage first, and it's based on your equity. And you'll only be charged, you'll get taxed at 40% after it reaches that threshold. And just a disclaimer, we are not tax consultant, and we understand that everyone would have a unique situation that only relates to them. So if you have further questions regarding this kind of taxes, you can always come back to us, and we can connect you to our recommended tax consultant that we usually work with. So yeah, and moving on.
Thank you, Nazim. So we've also received a question from one of the pre-registrants, if we provide leasing and management services. So we thought we should give you an idea on the scope of services that RBC provides. We basically provide an A to Z solution for our client when it comes to overseas property investment. We are a boutique firm with decades of experience in Australia, UK, Singapore, Japan, and some parts of the United States. So whether you're a first-time investor or a seasoned investor, we always want to sit down with you on a one-on-one consultation basis to listen to your needs and help you identify your investment needs, maybe review your existing portfolio as well, have a chat about the budget, the strategy, and the areas and the countries you can focus. Once the match is found, we will guide you through the whole reservation and buying process. We will recommend you to establish solicitors that we have worked with. And if there is a preference even for Cantonese or Mandarin speaking solicitors, we can specifically request for that to be made available to you. For first-time buyers, we also find that it's really helpful to have preliminary legal meetings, which not all solicitor provides, by the way. But we will do that on behalf of you. We will request that so that the first-time buyers are fully aware of their rights, what you can do and cannot do. Next, we have mortgage, right? Due to COVID, we found that there's been a fair bit of delay in processing loan applications, and our clients are having to start earlier, which we will probably remind and assist you on mortgage application. So in the past, we have probably 4 months that you need before you start applying for your mortgage. In today's context, you're probably talking about, at least 8 months, 6 months is a really fine line already, because the banks are really, backed up with a lot of applications. Yeah. We will also guide you through the completion process, because it's really different from completing a property in Malaysia. So that's something that I think a lot of our previous clients, when we are completing their property the first time, they do find it quite confusing. And when we guide them and we actually set up a completion process, a settlement meeting with them, it helps them to understand what they need to prepare in advance, what to expect and what to do. So they basically not kalang kabut lah, okay? And then when you have completed your property, We will connect you to the right leasing and property manager, as well as when it's time to file your tax, you can either file it on your own, okay? Or if you're reluctant to do it on your own, we can recommend a tax consultant to you. And last but not least, when you're ready or thinking about selling or consolidating your portfolio, we can advise and assist in the resale of your property, including arranging for valuation and advising on the exit strategy. We, of course, will continue to deal with any other issues and concerns that you may experience throughout your investment journey. So that brings me to the end of our webinar. I hope you have found this useful. Nazim?
All right. So we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for joining us until the end. Now we're going to give a couple of minutes for our audience to use our chat function. If you have any questions, I can just give it a couple of minutes to see if you have any questions pop up.
And also for the clients who are invited by Golden Gate, you should get back to the person who invite you, then they will connect us to you.
Okay, doesn't seem to come up. I guess we did a great job in the talk. Thank you very much to our speakers. Okay, thank you. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. You can see our emails in the presentation slide. We'll be happy to answer them. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for teasers and any quick updates that we will be doing with regards to property launches and online events. We'd like to extend our thanks and appreciation to all the audience who have taken their time in this beautiful Saturday and the weekends to join us in our talk. If you have more specific questions regarding the Kidbrook Village, so you can type in your email and we can have a small breakout session with our individual advisors. You can leave your email. Sorry.
Hang on, there is
wait.
Miss Wong.
Yeah, Miss Wong, I think, yeah, she's using.
Back to the slide. That's fine.
Okay. So
that's okay.
I think we can get back to.
Okay, just a quick one. So for because currently people are still going out of the pandemic, so that's why 2021 still sees a smaller price increase for the capital value. So as you go on and going towards normalcy with the vaccination rollout continues, so that's when you can see the forecast increases in terms of people moving out and properties getting completed and many other things such as some sub-sale being transferred and all that. So 2022 is when you see more price increase in terms of the capital value. And even if you are like concerned, I can give you some info. The current mortgage arrears is actually very low. Some of the parts is actually even lower than it was before the pandemic happens. So this is due to the fact that there are government initiative to, for example, like loan moratorium and all that. So this gives the tenants some time to reevaluate the cash flow and have some time after the economy goes back into normalcy. It actually reflects back into the market forecast for 2021, where you don't see much price growth, but after this, only you see it goes back to like a regular price growth, even better than the one before, because in 2022 is when you see more activities coming into the market as economy slowly starts to open. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. So any other questions?
If anyone is keen to find out more on Kidbrook Village, you can
just to have a one-on-one consultation with us. I think that's fine. If you just want to sit down with us on one-on-one, I think that's also a good way.
Okay.
Send us your email address in the chat, just direct to all the panelists. So you don't have to disclose your email address to everybody, just to us. In fact, I have already set up a Zoom link for those who want to jump onto the next meeting with us to look at Kidbrook. We can arrange that. I can send you the link to your email address.
Mm-hmm. So in any case, if not, then So I guess that's about it. So thank you very much. Thank you again to our speakers, Jazmine Go and Shelvin Tan, and thank you again to our audience. So we'll be seeing the ones who will send an email in our next session. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hope you all stay well and keep safe. And we hope to see you at our virtual property exhibition and possibly, upcoming webinars that we'll be hosting from on a regular basis now.
Also, I will be sending a survey form to those who register. We would like to be better, and we would like to also know what other topics you would like us to cover in the next webinar. So stay tuned for our survey form, perhaps tomorrow. I'll arrange that to send it over to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone. Have a good afternoon.